Greetings Guardians. This is Olympus Alliance and welcome back to another video. Today we are not talking about balance. We are not talking about safe investments or standard teams that everyone already knows. Today we talk about something much more dangerous. We talk about insane damage. The kind of damage that makes you stop a replay halfway through and ask yourself how the fight ended so quickly. Because Guardians. Relics changed things. Relics did not simply make heroes stronger. They changed interactions. They created loops, scaling, pressure and combinations that previously looked impossible. Healing became offense. Control became damage. Survivability became aggression. And some teams started reaching levels that honestly should not feel normal. Quick reminder for Hero Wars Alliance players on Android. Huawei AppGallery has a new May campaign, and this one is much easier than the April offer. You can still enjoy up to 25% off on AppGallery, but now the coupon requirements are better. For every €1, or equivalent in your local currency, spent in eligible games, you earn 1 football. You can redeem €2 coupons for 20 footballs, €10 coupons for 65 footballs, and €20 coupons for 80 footballs. This makes the May coupons much easier to get compared to April. There are also physical prizes available, including Huawei Band 10, Huawei FreeBuds 7i, and Huawei FreeClip, with up to 25% savings. Coupon stock is limited, so it is better to redeem early. You can also stack coupons, which means you can use multiple coupons together in one payment for better value. Check the campaign link in the description, join the AppGallery Discord for more help, and make sure your AppGallery country settings match the campaign region. So today I want to show you 3 teams that completely impressed me recently and explain why they work so well together and why relics are the reason these teams became so absurd. We begin with what might honestly be one of the biggest terrors in Dominion right now. Electra, Burner, Iris, Phobos, and Dorian. Guardians? This team is fast. Very fast. But not only fast. What makes this composition so scary, is that it never feels like one hero is carrying. Every hero is feeding the next one and creating pressure until eventually the opponent simply collapses. Everything starts with Electra. Electra already brings survivability because she forces opponents to focus her and absorbs attention that would normally go to fragile allies, but relics pushed her into another level because now she massively amplifies magic attack for the entire team. And when you start increasing magic attack in a composition like this, suddenly every part of the machine starts becoming stronger. Iris becomes stronger. Phobos becomes stronger. Burner becomes stronger. Even Dorian's sustain starts becoming more ridiculous. But Electra does not stop there because while enemies focus her, she reflects part of that punishment back and slowly creates a situation where attacking the team becomes painful. Then Burner enters and Guardians. Burner with relics is not the same hero. Increasing maximum health changes everything because now the team survives longer, gains energy faster and reaches more cycles. Longer fights become dangerous because Burner creates this constant magical pressure that never truly stops. And now imagine Iris inside this environment. Iris already has one of the scariest dot mechanics in Hero Wars and one of the strongest punishments for prolonged fights, but when relics increase sustain and keep the team alive longer, Iris becomes terrifying because her damage simply keeps stacking pressure until enemies disappear. Then comes Phobos. Immediate control. Immediate disruption. Immediate punishment. Reducing magic defense while applying pressure creates the perfect battlefield for Iris to explode, and what becomes beautiful here is that enemies feel trapped because if they try surviving longer, Iris wins, and if they try rushing, Electra and Dorian stabilize everything. And speaking of Dorian, this hero became insane with relics. The healing becomes absurd. The sustain becomes absurd. Level 20 changes him completely because now survival reaches levels that almost feel unfair, and when maximum health starts increasing together with stronger healing, keeping Iris active becomes much easier. Now imagine all this together. Pressure. Healing. Control. Scaling. This is one of the strongest defensive concepts I've seen. But now we completely change direction. Team number 2. Electra, Maya, Kendall, Leanne, and Miu. Guardians. This team is beautiful to watch because unlike the previous composition, this one feels like watching a machine slowly transforming healing into destruction. Again, Electra starts everything by amplifying magic attack and immediately increasing the ceiling of every hero in the composition. Then Maya enters. And Guardians. Maya is ridiculous. Because she damages while healing. Her damage spreads. Her healing spreads. And while she creates pressure across the enemy team, she simultaneously creates sustain for allies and improves their toughness. So enemies are suffering while your team survives. Then Leanne appears. And this is where things become gorgeous. Especially with relic level 30. Now controlled enemies start suffering pure damage, and suddenly charm stops being simply control and starts becoming offense. Enemies are immobilized and punished at the same time. But the real maestro of this orchestra. Kendall. Guardians. I still do not have her relic level 20, but even before reaching that point the interactions already look absurd. She increases magical critical pressure and supports the entire team, but then relics arrive and everything changes. Because now pure damage starts critting. Think about that. Healing creates aggression. Sacrifice becomes offense. And the damage arrives in a form that defenses cannot properly stop. And then Miu enters. As if things were not bad enough. More magical critical amplification. More pressure. More damage. And the blind effect means enemies are missing attacks while your team continues scaling and converting everything into unavoidable punishment. Beautiful. Aggressive. Terrifying. And finally, Electra, Burner, Iris, Leanne, and Tempest. This one might actually be my favorite. Because this team feels impossible to escape. Again Electra amplifies. Again Burner creates survival and energy. Again Iris starts spreading her impossible pressure. But Tempest changes everything. Because Tempest already controls rhythm naturally, but relic level 30 pushes him into insanity. His ultimate starts creating constant pressure loops and repeatedly applying effects in ways that completely change the battle. Enemies remain weakened, debuffed, disrupted. And suddenly Iris becomes even more dangerous because enemies simply cannot recover. Then Leanne adds control on top. Charm. Pressure. Pure damage. Tempest loops. Iris destroys. And the enemy slowly disappears while barely being allowed to play. Guardians? What shocked me the most was not the heroes. It was the relics. Because relics are changing identities and opening interactions we simply didn't have before. Tell me below. Which team shocked you more? and what relic combinations are breaking the game for you right now. Stay tuned, stay sharp, and as always, salute and friendship.